At the beginning of the film, we see Russian soldiers escorting prisoners. Among them is our main hero, Kraven the Hunter. Kraven spends a day with the other prisoners who then try to provoke him. Kraven quickly teaches them a lesson, engaging them in a fight. This altercation brings Kraven to the attention of the sergeant, who is astonished by the extent of the beating Kraven inflicted. The sergeant asks Kraven about his past and previous occupation. Kraven replies cryptically, "I am a hunter and I hunt people like you." He immediately attacks the sergeant, overpowering him, stabbing him in the neck, and then discarding his body. Kraven then escapes from the prison. His escape reveals his extraordinary abilities. He makes enormous leaps, far beyond the capabilities of a normal person, runs with cheetah-like speed, and scales walls effortlessly. Within minutes, he is out of the prison without being stopped. As he flees, he encounters a fierce ice storm. A wolf emerges from the storm, seemingly ready to attack. However, Kraven stares intently into the wolf's eyes, intimidating it and preventing an attack. Kraven then reaches a waiting aircraft and reports to someone that he has completed his mission and eliminated the sergeant. This reveals that he was not a prisoner at all, but rather had infiltrated the prison to carry out a specific task. The scene then shifts to Kraven's past, showing his upbringing with his brother. Their father unexpectedly picks them up from their college. They soon learn that their mother has taken her own life. Instead of taking them to her funeral, their ruthless father takes them hunting. He coldly explains that funerals are for those who die naturally, and that their mother chose her own fate. Their father is depicted as a gangster and drug dealer who wants to toughen his sons, training them to be expert hunters. They kill animals and traffic their skins, a practice that Kraven and his brother dislike. Nevertheless, they obey their father and participate in the hunt. They encounter a lion. Kraven fearlessly stares into the lion's eyes, unnerving the animal. He has the opportunity to kill it but chooses not to. However, their father, Nikolai, shoots the lion. Enraged, the lion attacks Kraven, seizing him and dragging him away. Nikolai shoots the lion again from behind to save his son, but the lion continues to drag Kraven until finally throwing him aside. A girl walking in the forest witnessed the aftermath of the lion attack. Seeing Kraven injured, she administered a few drops of a special serum into his mouth, which visibly strengthened him and aided his recovery. Shortly after, a rescue team arrived. As she departed with Kraven, the girl placed a small card in his hand. Kraven was taken to a hospital, where his condition was so critical that he was on the verge of death. Doctors even pronounced him dead. However, surprisingly, he revived a few minutes later. Upon regaining consciousness, he noticed the card the girl had given him. Meanwhile, Kraven's father and brother arrived at the hospital. His brother was overjoyed to see him alive. Although still in a fragile state, Kraven's father insisted on taking him home, where he had prepared a macabre surprise: the mounted head of the lion that had attacked Kraven. Kraven, who hadn't wanted the lion killed, was furious with his father. An argument ensued, with Kraven expressing his disapproval and his father reacting with anger. Kraven retreated to his room and began packing, keeping the girl's card with him. Under the cover of night, he left. His brother tried to stop him, but Kraven reassured him, saying he wasn't going far, but rather to the place where their mother used to take them. He then departed. This place was a clearing in the forest. Upon arriving, Kraven encountered a stampede of bulls. To avoid being trampled, he instinctively bowed his head. Miraculously, no bull hit him. When he looked up, he saw a bull standing protectively in front of him. He exchanged a moment of connection with the bull before it moved aside. Kraven continued to the camp where his mother used to take them. He settled there, embracing a new life among the animals, considering the forest his home and the animals his companions. One day, while observing deer running, he found himself effortlessly keeping pace with them. He realized he had developed extraordinary abilities: the speed of a deer, the strength of a lion, and the agility to climb trees like a monkey. He reveled in these newfound powers. One day, he witnessed two hunters killing and decapitating buffalo. Enraged, Kraven confronted them, telling them they shouldn't have done it. The hunters, confused by his demeanor, threatened him with a gun. Kraven retaliated, attacking and killing both hunters. From that day forward, he vowed to spare no hunter who entered the forest. The narrative then shifts to the present, showing Kraven arriving in the same forest in his plane. He observes Russian mafia hunters killing and taking away buffalo. Incensed, Kraven intervenes. The hunter's leader warns him to stay out of their way, threatening to run him over with their vehicle. Kraven ignored the threat, and the hunters attempted to do just that. Kraven swiftly entered the vehicle and engaged them in combat, successfully stopping them and saving the buffalo. He couldn't stop the leader's car, but he memorized its license plate. The scene cuts to the same leader, Andre, in his office reporting to his boss. However, when the chair swivels around, Andre is shocked to find Kraven sitting there instead of his boss. Kraven had not only arrived before him but had also killed Andre's boss. Kraven then asks Andre how he should kill him, mockingly consulting his diary to see if Andre is on his list. Andre's name is indeed there. Kraven, who uses the diary to record the names of those he intends to kill, crosses out Andre's name before shooting and killing him. He then leaves the room, leaving the bodies of both men hanging from the door. The scene shifts years into the future, showing the girl who had saved Kraven's life with the serum. Now a grown woman and a successful lawyer, she faces constant threats and has numerous enemies. Kraven appears while she is attending a friend's funeral. He tells her he killed the Russian sergeant who had raped and murdered her friend. Initially disbelieving, she later researches Kraven's claim and discovers it to be true. She learns that a man known as Hunter was responsible for the sergeant's death, realizing that Hunter is Kraven. Kraven shows her the card she had given him as a child, confirming his identity. The lawyer confronts Kraven, acknowledging him as the hunter who is killing members of the mafia but also accusing him of being a murderer himself. Kraven dismisses her concerns and gives her his diary, asking her to write the names of criminals who are released from her court so that he can eliminate them. Reluctantly, she takes the diary. The scene introduces Rhino, a powerful mafia figure. He is surprised to learn that his biggest rival, another gangster, has been killed. Unsure who is responsible, Rhino decides to ally himself with the killer to avoid becoming a target himself and to seize his rival's business. When Rhino meets with his rival's men, they angrily shoot at him. However, the bullets have no effect. It is revealed that Rhino has injected himself with a serum that has made his skin incredibly tough, almost like stone. Rhino's hidden snipers then kill the remaining men, leaving only Morris, who fearfully agrees to work with Rhino. That evening, Kraven's father, Nikolai, summons Morris for a business meeting. However, Morris, now aligned with Rhino, arrives with his men to kill Nikolai on Rhino's orders. At Morris's signal, his men attack Nikolai's guards. But killing Nikolai proves to be more difficult than they anticipated. Nikolai kills Morris and his men. Enraged, Rhino receives news that Kraven is the one who has been killing his enemies. He conceals his reaction, but his demeanor suggests he is formulating a plan. Meanwhile, Kraven scales walls and enters his brother's apartment through a window. It's his brother's birthday, which they celebrate at their father's bar. Nikolai joins them, urging Kraven to return to the family. Kraven remains unmoved. After the celebration, Kraven takes his inebriated brother home. His brother convinces him to stay the night, so Kraven sleeps in the garden, accustomed as he is to sleeping outdoors. The next morning, he discovers his brother missing and blood on the bed, indicating a kidnapping. Kraven spots the kidnapper's vehicle and gives chase, attempting to break the bulletproof windshield and windows. He is thrown from the vehicle, and they escape with his brother in a helicopter. Kraven attempts to climb onto the helicopter from a nearby ship using a rope ladder, but the helicopter's speed causes him to fall into the water. Worried, Kraven seeks the lawyer's help to identify the kidnappers. She gathers information and locates his brother. Kraven also learns from his father that the kidnappers are mafia and are demanding a ransom. He urges his father to pay, but Nikolai refuses, stating that paying would show weakness. Kraven realizes he must rescue his brother himself. A man delivers more information about the kidnappers and their location to the lawyer. Unbeknownst to her, this man is working for Rhino, who is orchestrating a trap for Kraven. The lawyer unknowingly relays the location to Kraven. Kraven arrives at the location and fights his way through the guards, using their own sniper rifle against them. He reaches the room where his brother is held, but before freeing him, he engages in hand-to-hand combat with the leader. During the fight, they crash through a window and fall to the ground. Large stones are then thrown on them, leading Rhino to believe they are dead. He releases Kraven's brother and reveals to him that Kraven is the hunter who has been targeting the Mafia. 2 men are sent to confirm Kraven's death. They discover he is still alive and has been using his powers to conceal himself. Kraven kills them, takes their weapons, and calls the lawyer, warning her that it was a trap and that the Mafia is now after her. The lawyer flees her office and travels via aircraft to the forest location Kraven has specified as a safe haven. While they are walking to Kraven's camp, a cheetah attacks Kraven. He fights it off, impressing the lawyer with his strength and agility. The cheetah retreats. Meanwhile, Rhino receives news that Kraven has survived. His spies discover a wildflower near the site where Kraven was presumed dead, leading them to deduce he is hiding in the forest. They know where this specific flower grows. In the forest, Kraven asks the lawyer if she still has the serum she gave him as a child and if she knows where to find more. She replies that she doesn't know anything about it. The lawyer reveals that her grandmother, who possessed extensive knowledge of herbs, created the serum. She confirms that her grandmother is now deceased and that the serum's formula is lost. Meanwhile, Rhino and his men advance into the forest. Rhino's spy carries a special injection intended to kill Kraven. Upon entering the forest, Rhino's men spread out, searching for the area where the specific flowers associated with Kraven's hideout grow. Kraven, anticipating their arrival, has already set numerous traps. Rhino's men fall victim to these traps, and Kraven begins picking them off one by one. The sounds of their screams alert Rhino to Kraven's presence. It is revealed that Rhino's spy possesses magical abilities. During his fight with Kraven, he uses magic to evade attacks and ultimately manages to inject Kraven with the near-fatal poison. As the magician prepares to shoot the weakened Kraven, the lawyer shoots and kills him from behind. She rushes to Kraven's side. He is on the verge of death. She then administers the remaining serum, saving his life once again. Kraven regains consciousness and fully recovers, his wounds healed. Elsewhere, Rhino is informed that the magician has killed Kraven. He celebrates his victory and begins to leave the forest with his men. As they exit, a large herd of buffalo charges towards them. Rhino, panicked, injects himself with the serum that turns his skin to stone. The buffalo stampede destroys their vehicles and kills many of Rhino's men. Rhino, now larger and stone-like, withstands the onslaught. Kraven arrives to confront Rhino. Despite Rhino's enhanced size and strength, Kraven realizes he must use his cunning. He strikes Rhino at the point where he injects the serum, weakening him. Kraven then ties Rhino with ropes and attaches them to the horns of the stampeding buffalo, who drag him away. As Rhino is being dragged, Kraven prepares to shoot him. However, Kraven's brother intervenes. Kraven then demands to know who informed Rhino about him. Rhino reveals that it was Kraven's own father, Nikolai. Heartbroken, Kraven confronts his father. Nikolai confesses that he knew about Kraven's crusade against the Mafia. He explains that Rhino was a major obstacle in his business, and after Rhino killed one of his associates and took over his business, Nikolai sought revenge. Unable to confront Rhino directly, he manipulated him into targeting Kraven, knowing Kraven would retaliate. Kraven realizes he has been a pawn in his father's scheme to eliminate his rivals and consolidate his own power within the Mafia. He leaves his father, who is then attacked by a wolf, an attack orchestrated by Kraven. Kraven does not intervene, allowing his father to face the consequences of his actions. In a post-credit scene, Kraven is shown living peacefully with his brother. The Mafia is gone, and Kraven has abandoned his violent crusade. They are finally happy. The film ends with this scene.